spent November and December 2025 and January 2026 in Australia. November is still considered spring, but December and January are definitely considered summer in Down Under. Yeah, we both dislike the cold, so it was awesome and amazing to spend the usual winter months in the summer in Australia doing bodyboarding, having nice warm weather, while our friends in the US and in Switzerland were in the gray cold weather. While we were in Australia, our hosts were in the US, and we were so lucky again. They brought back prescription drugs from the USA for me. We still haven't found 5 micrograms T3 anywhere else in the world but in the USA. Everywhere else you just get either T3 T4 mixed or only T4, or I think in Turkey we found T3 but 5 times as strong. They also brought us DHEA from the US, what is really hard to get in Australia. Here is the video about how we got DHEA in Australia. Well, for me, it was really easy to get DHEA because for me, it's a life-depending drug. But Paul is also taking DHEA for many, many years now. And of course, Paul doesn't have a prescription. I have a prescription. So yeah, it's good they brought us more DHEA from the USA because we both use it. We both use each 50 milligrams per day. But the methylene blue, they didn't bring us. Greg, our host, sent us links that said without a prescription, it's illegal to bring it into Australia. Of course, we don't want them to get into any trouble. So we said, no, just don't bring that. Yeah, we knew Australia is super strict with certain drugs. I totally understand why they are so strict with DHEA because it brings up your testosterone. But methylene blue, it's a salt, it's a dye. Why are they so strict? I mean, I didn't get it. Well, I looked it up, and yes, it is considered a drug. I still, well, yeah, what is a drug exactly? I mean, I don't know. But methylene blue, yeah, it's a salt, it's a dye. So January 27, 2026, Greg and Robin came back. One of their daughters, Melinda, and her husband, Barry, picked them up at the airport and brought them home. And they also spent, I think, just one night at their house. So the house was full because we still stayed there for another night before we got our flight. So yeah, Robin, Greg, the two of us, and the other two, so 6 people, and Melinda and Barry brought their 4 dogs with them, so there were also 6 dogs in the house. Oh my gosh, that house was full. Yeah, 5 of the dogs were Dachshunde, so that family is really into Dachshunde, and the 6th, a beautiful Hungarian Vizsla, and so nice, so calm. The Dachshunde, but the Vizsla, the big dog, was so calm, so nice. Yeah. So we all had dinner together. They got takeaway fish and chips, and I, of course, had my own pre-cooked food. It was great to talk to them. They are also interesting, and we really feel we made some friends there. It was really nice. Already before they left the USA, Greg and Robin, we got to know another one of their 3 daughters and her husband. They were great too. Here is the video, Sydney to Tea Gardens, Australia. Well, our last night in Australia, I had a hard time falling asleep that night. Around 2 p.m, I started smelling, I thought, cigarette smoke. It was so bad. I had a coughing attack, and I couldn't believe it that I didn't wake up Paul, because the last night we both spent in the same room. I actually spent the night on the floor because that bed was so uncomfortable, and it was like how to say, like in the middle, it was like this, and with Paul in the bed as well. No, so I just slept on the floor with some blankets on the floor, much more comfortable. But yeah, anyway, so I coughed and coughed at 2 a.m. and I didn't wake up Paul, and I had to sleep with my bandana over my mouth and over my nose. I don't really like sleeping with that, but otherwise I couldn't have handled it. So luckily, when I got up after I got some sleep, the smell was gone. Paul told me it was a bushfire. Makes much more sense. But I thought it was cigarette smoke. I don't know, it smelled like cigarettes to me. Unfortunately, I had some anxiety and diarrhea, like almost always on moving days. I took half of a GABA capsule, just a powder in my mouth, and we packed up the rest of our stuff, and we said goodbye to Melinda, Barry, Rob, and of course Sebi and Lola, the two Dachshunde we took care of for 3 months. Around 12 o'clock, Greg drove us to the Broadmeadow train station. We arrived there at 1:15 p.m. We said bye and thanks to him. Our train leaves at 2:18 p.m. We have 1 hour time. Paul suddenly told me our train has a 1 hour delay because of the heat. It was 29 Celsius, 84.2 Fahrenheit. Yes, hot, but not crazy hot. We experienced much hotter weather. I mean, 29, it's not even 30. Well, maybe where the train was coming from, it was much hotter. I don't know. Well, anyways, the train station people there gave us and other people the advice to take the next train to Sydney and not wait for the actual train we booked our tickets from. So they said to take the next one. That's the one that takes much longer than the fast one that we booked and actually have reserved seats in first class. I never approved to get seats in first class, by the way, of course not. So the train we booked probably won't make it to Sydney in time for us to catch our flight to Singapore. That's what they told us. So, okay, yeah. Oh, there was a water dispenser at the train station. I've never seen that before. I've seen it at the airport, of course. Basically everywhere in airports you have those free water dispensers. But there was one at the train station. I thought that was super cool. So around 14:25 to 25 p.m. the slow train arrived and we got in. There were stairs to go up and stairs to go down to get seated. But there were 6 priority seats accessible without any stairs. We usually don't sit in the priority seats, but Paul, as a senior, counts as one. And with Fat Boy, our big, heavy suitcase, fuck it, we sat in the priority seats. The bathroom in the train was pretty nice and modern, pretty cool, and a huge difference to the Plumpsklo, the Turkish toilets in trains in Thailand. We arrived at Central at 4:58 p.m. We walked out of the train station and waited for the Uber. Paul ordered it for 5:20 p.m. because he didn't know how late we'd be. So exactly at 5:20 p.m. we left with the Uber. There was quite some traffic. We arrived at the Sydney International Airport at 5:49 p.m. We paid more than enough extra weight for our luggage in advance, so no problem at the luggage check-in. But this time, Mr. Top Sirloin, my teddy bear, and Tabuk, my how do you call that, teddy dinosaur, and Tabuk actually means chicken in Turkish. So yeah, the dinosaur's name is chicken in Turkish. So those two and even some clothes I put safely into the pillowcase. So they can't take away my stuffed animals from me because you're still allowed to take a pillow, your own pillow, into the airplane cabin. We were flying with Scooter. One flight from Sydney to Singapore, then another one from Singapore to Da Nang, Vietnam. But this time we didn't have to get our luggage after the first flight. We could just check it in for both flights directly until to Vietnam. So that was really nice. That was really cool. I don't remember when, but once we flew Thai Airways and also had 2 flights with the same airline. So both flights were Thai Airways, but we couldn't check in our luggage for both flights until our destination. We after the first flight, we had to get our luggage and then check it back in again. So that's so annoying. So anyways, back to our flight from Australia to Singapore. So when we went through luggage control, we started to take out our laptops and tablets and stuff, and the security guy there said, no, don't put it back in. So I think that was the first time where we don't at some point had to take out our laptops and tablets and such. But all our stuff we put on the belt got taken out and looked at by another airport security guy. He wanted to take away the little ice pack from my food bag because, well, after many hours already in the train and the car, it thawed out, so it got liquid. So he wanted to throw that away. Paul told him we need that for my special food. The guy asked if we have a doctor's note, not for the food, but we have for prescription medication. So luckily Paul had the prescription from the doctor I saw in Tea Gardens, Australia, for the DHEA. So he had that prescription on him. So he showed the security guy that, and it was okay. We could keep the ice pack. So I'm super glad about that we can keep it, because it fits perfectly in my little food bag. So and I need it every time we travel, or even when we do a day trip or something. I need to bring my own food. And yeah, I put a note into my phone that as soon as we talk to Dr. Gates again, that's my neurologist in Reno, Nevada, the USA, I want to ask him if he could give me a doctor's note about me having to take my own special food. Yeah, I actually miss Dr. Gates. He's awesome. He's my, as mentioned, my neurologist, but also like my main doctor in Reno, and he knows everything about me, about my eating lifestyle, my diet, everything. And I think he supports it, I'm pretty sure. He puts most of his clients on a keto diet. I'm a carnivore, you could say, maybe not super clean like some people claim. I mean, I take supplements, and I'm actually trying now to also include some non-carnivorous foods, because I think being super strict carnivore is not the most ideal for my personal body, but it was totally needed to get more healthy. But so anyways, I'm sure he would write me a note about my food, that I need my own special food or whatever, because he knows how important food is, and he was actually the one that put me on not carnivore but like a special diet first, like that actually told me many of my problems could come from food. Anyways, so Paul didn't have any food since 9 a.m. so he got himself some KFC and some sushi rolls. I started eating my food already at the train station and in a train. I didn't have anything while we were still at the house. I packed up 3 soft-boiled eggs, lamb loin chops, pork chops, and 2 skinless chicken thighs. I forgot to take a picture of it. Usually I take pictures of the food. We waited at our gate for a bit, then we boarded the plane. Again, we were the very first to board the plane. Well, the very first passengers, of course. Paul paid about $10 for priority boarding. A bit later, a guy sat next to me in our 3-people row. The flight attendant started closing the overhead compartments, and I saw 2 rows totally empty in front of us. Paul asked if we could take those rows. As long as they're not the front rows, because they are more expensive, it's okay. So Paul got his own row, and Mr. Top Sirloin, Tavuk, and I got our own row. Hell yeah, I instantly got super happy and excited. Yeah, my own row in airplanes just makes me so happy. Paul let the flight attendant know about his seat change, so they wouldn't put his pre-ordered snack to the wrong place. But they didn't have any order for his actual seat number. He remembered he pre-ordered a snack on the second flight. Well, the KFC and sushi rolls weren't enough for him, so he wanted to order some food. The guy in the row next to Paul, he probably heard us talking about it, because he gave Paul his curry chicken biryani rice that he ordered. He didn't want it. The flight just got better and better. I mean, that's so super nice of him to give Paul his food. So cool. The plane took off at 8:21 p.m. We were supposed to depart at 8:05 p.m. The plane didn't have the regular shades you can pull down. There was a button to make the window darker. I was watching a documentary on Netflix with my tablet while sitting across my 3 seats. And then I lied down, and I think for a short time I even fell asleep. They turned the lights on and spoke over the radio that we are preparing for landing. Shit, I still had 1 lamb loin chop and 1 egg left to eat. I was so worried I wouldn't have enough food, because I ate everything else before even being in the plane. Yeah, but we boarded around 7:36 p.m. So it made sense that I would eat most of my food before that. I mean, during the day, not at night. I was looking forward to my last lamb chop and the egg, well, especially the lamb chop, but I wanted to wait until almost at the end of our flight. And yeah, I got stressed out when they announced we were starting to land. I wanted to keep both of those great Tupperwares with the 2 compartments. The first one I already washed somewhat clean in Sydney at the airport. So I did something I usually really don't do. I was not hungry at all, but I ate that last egg and almost the whole rest of the lamb loin chop. It almost made me sick. I couldn't eat the very rest, fatty, most delicious part of the lamb loin chop. Yes, I had to throw it away. I felt so bad. I usually don't do that, but it was really just a small piece. And I tried to clean the plastic container as well as possible with a napkin. Of course, we checked beforehand at Singapore Changi Airport. You have to go through customs to get to Yotel Air, and of course, no cooked meat or eggs are allowed. So I prepared accordingly. I dried and vacuum sealed lots of pork and beef, and I still had lots of tuna cans and 1 canned beef still from Turkey. We arrived on January 29th, 2026, around 3:25 Sydney time, 25 past midnight Singapore time. 45 minutes too early. The flight took a good 7 hours. We just walked right through customs. I could have taken my food with me, no problem, like I did so many times at so many other airports, no problem. But yeah, I didn't want to take the chance. You never know, so we played it safe this time. We walked through the airport to get to the Yotel Air. Lots of stuff was closed and dark. Even then, still, there was so much to see at that airport. 1:09 in the morning, now Singapore time, of course, we got to our Yotel Air. Wow, that brings back memories from the Yotel Air at Gatwick Airport in London, the UK we were. Here's that video about that. That's how our nomadic life started. March 30th, 2024, we flew from LAX, Los Angeles Airport, USA to Gatwick, London, and spent our first night there at the Yotel Air before continuing to Istanbul, where I got Gamma Knife treatment on a second pituitary gland tumor. Well, and since then, we've been to Turkey, Serbia, Montenegro, Croatia, Albania, through Greece and Italy to Slovenia, Hungary, Switzerland, the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Australia. Crazy. I love it. Even though I still have health problems, I know I am so blessed. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed.